Hey, this is Stacia, and we're gonna do something a little different today. So I basically just spent, I don't know, about 30 or 45 minutes analyzing this position. Okay, and well, I'm training, right? Like I'm training my calculation, and this position is from an actual game that I played at the Rating Point Harvest. You can actually see it on my channel. It was against Henry Van Zedwig. And, I found this position and I ran the computer analysis and I made a move here that was dubious, basically. But I did not look at what that move was. I just, pulled it from the graph. So we have a position here where, in a real tournament game, I made a move that wasn't so great. So the idea of this now is to do the following things, okay? We want to find the best move, okay? Find the best move, okay? So number one, identify candidate moves. Number two, provide an evaluation for each move, like on our own without the engine. Like, what do we think the engine will say? Number three, write down lines to justify your conclusions. Number four, what is your main line for continued play? And number five, check with the engine and see how you did. And that's where the learning part is. Because the engine sees stuff that grandmasters miss, like on a regular basis. Okay, and I know that because I watch a lot of chess shows. I really like chess, in case you guys didn't know. Okay, hang on a second. I just want to make sure that's fixed. So, but we can learn a lot. So I'm going to go ahead and show you now my candidate moves. Oh, and by the way, if you want to pause your video and try to find the best move, do so now, because I'm about to start spilling the beans. Okay, so I'm not even sure, but I think I played this in the game, and I think I was in time pressure, and that may be why I played that, but I don't like that move at all. No, actually, you know what I did? I think I did this, Bishop A7. I think that's what I did, because I saw that I wanted to play the move B5, and I'll have this nice pawn majority, and that's my main asset in the position. So I wanted to do this, and I felt, if he takes here, I'm fine, and if he takes here, I'm happy. So that's kind of what I was thinking. Now, when we look at candidate moves, though, we should first identify all checks and captures and make sure none of them just win on the spot, especially sacrifices. Always look at sacrifices. So obviously this is a move that we should be looking at. And I actually do think it's interesting. Not that interesting. So there's that move. We have this capture. We have this capture. I think that's it. Like, in terms of forcing moves, checks and captures alone, I think that's kind of it. After that, we do want to look at tempo moves. So let's eliminate the forcing moves first, okay? If we go here, I think white would want to take with the queen, but that would be a huge blunder because the queen was doing something. It was defending. So that's what makes this move a little bit interesting, but I think they could just take with the king, and I have this check, but I don't see anything after like king f1, for example. And this is what I wrote down, was king f1, and I said white's winning, and that's actually correct. So I wrote down +3. The engine says +5. But I have noticed that since the neural networks have been around, the evaluations are even more inflated than they used to be. So they must be seeing more and going deeper than ever. Okay, so this move is not going to work because they just take with a king. So we've ruled out the sacrifice. And of course, I did that as well over the board, but, you know, quickly, at least quickly for me. All right, the next one we should look at is taking the rook. I mean, it's a move, but I just feel like this is dubious. I didn't even calculate farther than this. I was like, you know, I want them to trade, I want them to take me and bring my rook to the middle. So I didn't like that move. And the last trade we could look at is bishop takes bishop. But I kind of felt this also looked dubious to me because we're bringing the queen, oops, oh my gosh, sorry. We're bringing the queen closer to the king side. I do think that one of White's main ideas is to try and play e6 at the right moment. I feel like we've kind of helped them set that up a bit. But also, they could even start like maybe an attack somehow. I don't know. Like here. I don't know. I think that actually happened in the game. So it's fresh in my memory. But, so I thought that was dubious. Okay. So we want to look at other moves. The next ones to look at are tempo moves. So these are moves that are maybe not checks or captures, but they do something forcing. So for example, g6 would attack the bishop, you know. So that's definitely one of them, which I actually didn't see earlier, but I don't like it. It looks horrible. I don't want to do that one. The other one I looked at, though, is bishop a5. Look at that. We can attack a rook. Nothing wrong with that. Are there any other ones? Now, these are often pawn moves, by the way. I guess f6, but I just really hate that move for some reason. I really do. I feel like White could just go here. Or even check first, then come back. I don't like that at all. Oh yeah, maybe even check and put the queen there. Just looks really uncomfortable. Why do that, right? It's too weakening. But bishop a5, this one actually did draw my attention because we're attacking this rook and it's kind of awkward for White to deal with. So let's see, bishop a5. The other thing, by the way, is that before I looked at tempo moves, I did see that I want to play b5, which is what I saw during the game. So I looked at all these moves. I looked at bishop a7. I looked at bishop c7. I actually didn't write these down, but, you know, I was looking at all these, and then I was like, wait a minute, there's this, you know? Like, why not this move? Why not? I just want to get out of the way, you know, of the b pawn so I can play b5. And this does it with tempo. Not to mention, you know, how does White deal with this? I'm not exactly sure. It looks kind of uncomfortable, right? Like bishop a5, if they just move their rook up like this, I think they lose the game. We check, they take, and once again, we win that bishop. So, yeah, this is, and if they trade first, which I don't think they should necessarily, you know, I like what they just did for us. By the way, the rook's still under attack. So you know, now I really like black. So they can't really take and they can't really move the rook up. So, you know, I think rook f1 is probably the best move. I also thought this might be a move. But I do think, you know, at the very least, I thought we could take with the queen at the very least, and I'm sure this is fine. But we could also think about taking the rook, I thought. But this does require some calculation. It's just that I felt that calculation could wait until they actually do this, because we know we have this move. Okay. So bishop a5, I thought, must be the best move. That is what I thought. So what do you guys think? Do you agree with me that bishop a5 is the best move? So if you haven't yet, you can pause your video and try to figure it out. Well, guess what? It is not the best move. And there's another move that is tied with this move, and that is bishop takes bishop. Now, I thought this is interesting, okay? Because, I mean, the thing is, we're going to take, they're going to take, okay? Then we have another move. And so we can always think this during our calculations, which I actually didn't this time. So I'm a little disappointed I didn't at least know this was a thing. So we could consider doing this and then playing bishop a5. We could consider that, okay? But the other thing is we could consider queen c5. Now this I looked at. I thought after this, I actually wrote down knight to h4. I think first I wrote down knight d4, but I think that just loses. Yeah, that's not defended enough. I could literally take it. So, but once I saw that, I was like, oh, what about knight h4? You know, and my idea is I just want the queen to defend f2. And then I thought, you know, maybe they're going to play e6 like they want very soon. They could also go rook f1. So I didn't think this was all that amazing for me. But the engine does like this for black. And it says we can go bishop a5 right now. Rook f1. Rook d5. Stopping that e6 move. And if they take, which maybe they should. I mean, I don't know. Oh, they can't take with check because we'll take with the queen. So they're going to have to do this. That's kind of what that was kind of my point. So now I can take this. I mean, how do we evaluate this? I mean, the knight's under attack and we're going to play b5. Yeah, I do like black. And the engine says -3 for black. Wow. Okay. So anyway, it turns out that I did misevaluate this a bit. After bishop takes queen c5, knight h4, it's actually good for black, but I didn't see further than that, and so I wasn't sure. Okay, which kind of tells me that, you know, I think that maybe something I should work on is just evaluating positions, you know? Just evaluate positions. Because if I could get better at evaluating positions, then when I see them from a distance, maybe I will evaluate a little better. Because I do notice there's a lot of times where I'm like, this goes here, whatever. I calculate a line, and at the end I'm like, I have no idea. You know, like I have no clue. So yeah, I think I might try that. But anyway, we're doing calculation. And I said the best move was bishop a5. It's actually not true. So this move, then bishop a5 is also good. But the best move is bishop c5, and I haven't looked at this yet. So we're going to explore this together. Bishop c5. Why would this be the strongest move? I have no clue. All right, so I'm going to turn off the engine for a second, and we're going to analyze this. If bishop c5, what do I think white would do? Well, I think white might take here. They might do that and play queen e4 to centralize the queen. I think that is an idea. So let's look at that really quickly. Queen a4. So one move I want to play is b5, and this is attacked. So I probably would go b5. And then can they do anything mean? Not really. I don't know. Not really. Yeah, this seems alright to me. I don't really think there's b3. I could just take that, I think. And I think this position's good. I'm gonna check with the engine now. Yeah, black's like -1 here. Okay. And another move I was thinking about after bishop c5. I mean, I'm just going through what I thought white's ideas were. They could try a4 to stop b5, but I don't think this is any good. I mean, do I really care about this? It's not really stopping anything. They just opened my rook up. So I think this is fine. I'll turn on the engine and see. Yep, also -1. Okay, so what else could black do after bishop c5? Any crazy ideas for them? Kind of don't think so. Maybe knight d4 is an idea. Knight d4. Yeah, but once again, it's just not defended enough, so trying to see if they could make it work somehow, but no, I just think it loses, right? Doesn't this just lose? I take it. I just take it. I don't see anything white has. I guess my one last thing is that white could always check us, but I feel like here, and they've got to retreat their bishop. I'll check with the engine to make sure, but yeah, they have to retreat their bishop, because if they don't, that bishop will be captured. So I'm not sure how good that is. So I'm not really sure. I guess maybe one of the ideas behind bishop c5 is to control this square and keep the knight out. That is possible, because it does feel like we're doing this to keep our bishop on this diagonal. After all, the bishop is really good on that diagonal. We're controlling some really good stuff here. So that makes some sense. And we're still going to play b5, and we can still attack the rook if needed. So that must be why bishop c5 is superior. Okay. Now, just really quickly, the computer gave a couple moves here for white that I did not think of at all. First of all, they said queen e4 without taking first, which I guess is okay. So I would go b5, and then they give this. I would take with a queen, and then they give g4. Yeah, I did not consider g4 at all. Looks a little crazy, but I guess that's the idea. Yeah, and I think, this is the type of move the engine will make when black's a little better, I think, to try and complicate things. Or I should say a human would do it. Maybe not an engine, but a human. So this must be just a good move, but it looks weird to me. Okay, and then it says here we can go a5, queen g6, even bishop b4. All these moves keep the big advantage for us. They even give g4 right away, which does protect the bishop. And then I would go b5, and they go king g2. Oh, so they're making a space for the king too to get out of the pin. Ah, okay. Yeah, and on bishop a5, so what's the difference here? I thought they would go rook f1, and my main line that I gave was bishop attacks rook and rook f1. That's what I gave. And then I said here I would just go b5, and I thought they would go, you know, queen e4, or even takes queen e4. This is what I thought, and I said I thought black was -1. And guess what? The engine says it's -1. So my main line was correct. But I didn't see everything white could do here. So let's just see what the engine gives as the best play for white. So after bishop a5, it gives takes. Okay. Now, I was thinking about this, but I was going to calculate it. It actually doesn't like this. It says bishop d5 now. And I would just have to go back. Wow. And then I can... Oh, and then they take this. Wow. Okay, that's interesting. But we could also just take. And on this move, now they give rook f1. So I actually was planning this if they did take. This is my backup move. So we're still in the lines I said. And now they give rook a to c8 for black. Gives a nice advantage. I didn't see that. Yeah, it's like I would have played b5, but they're saying that knight d4 now is pretty decent. Yeah, so I'm starting to think that maybe that's the main difference between these two moves, is that when you keep the bishop on c5, you maintain the pin and you stop this knight d4 move. And knight d4 is a good move. I mean, the knight's in the center, and this pawn is blockaded. So when I move my queen, you know, this becomes an idea. And I don't want that to be an idea. Yeah, it's actually giving e6 right now. Yeah. I don't want them to do that. I want to try to win that pawn. So it was all about that. So pretty instructive, I think. So once again, I just want to look at the computer's main line. So bishop a5, it definitely gives this. And then now it's giving bishop takes. Okay, e1. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do this. Rook f1. And rook a to c8 is a key move. So I might actually make a flashcard of this move. I think this is something I've learned. But I also might make a flashcard of why the bishop is better on c5 instead of a5. Because it does seem instructive to me that the bishop on c5 restricts white's play a little more than the bishop on a5. Like on a5, we gain a tempo on the rook, yes, but then white still gets in here, and they get this. So bishop c5 is aimed more at preventing counterplay. Yeah, and this is something I've noticed about strong players compared to me. They make moves that limit their opponent's counterplay. And if you can find moves that improve your position and limit their counterplay, then those are like the really good moves. So I was only thinking about what I want when I play bishop a5. I was like, hey, I want to do this, and hey, it makes my opponent uncomfortable, but I didn't stop this move. So I guess after rook a c8, which is the main move, what happens if they go here? Oh, we can take this. Take that. So wait a minute. So what was the other line? I thought here, knight d4. So can I take that or what? No, because when I played b5, I gave up this forking square. Look at that. Wouldn't that be terrible? That would just be terrible. That's like, that's forking everything. That's something I would do in a game. No, I'm just kidding. Hopefully I wouldn't. I would when I was 1500, I can tell you. I'd blunder forks like that, and I was like, oh, I'm 1500. I shouldn't blunder forks like that, which is probably true. But now I'm 1700, so I shouldn't blunder forks like that. Okay, so anyway, I hope that this little calculation training was fun for you guys. I think I learned a lot, and I think I'm going to go make those 2 flashcards now. And have a great day. I'll be back with more chess. Okay, bye.